Warmachine, board, battle with Morty. Cygnar, versus
I'm playing my current list, which is Stryker 2, with Rowdy and his battle group and a Squire attached, then a full unit of Sword Knights with the UA and 2 Stormclads attached, and a unit of Stormblades, and Ragman, Piper, the Junior Warcaster, and Arlen Strangeways. And that's 50 points.
So that's Mortenebra, next to her attached Delirious, or however he's called. Then that is the Helldiver, then 2 Stalkers, 2 Slayers, 1 Reaper, 1 Harrower, then the big Deathjack, 2 Sea Witches or Siren Witches, and then the Ninja Turtle army of Scrap Trolls.
Okay, so here we are setting up. I managed to get first turn on this one. So tell us a bit about your list and the process you went through in choosing Mortenebra.
Sure. So basically I picked Morty because she runs lots of jacks, and I'm running 5 jacks with Deathjack being the star, Seether, 2 Slayers, and a Reaper.
Yeah.
And then I'm also trying to play an Assassination list, as is common with Mortenebra. So I've got 3 points of Thralls, the Scrap Thralls, which would be 9. And then I'm also playing the War Witches, 2 of them, and then a little Stalker, 2 of them in this game, along with the little Helldiver dude.
Yeah.
So in this turn, I'm just running up this.
So it's a super strong assassination vector. You've got several jacks that can take. What's the spell called? Is it there's a goat that you have to put Ghostly on, so they don't get any free strikes?
You have to put Overrun. Yeah, you need to put Overrun to get. Spectre Steel is the spell to put Ghostly.
Yeah.
So I usually put that on Deathjack. So like you can see, Deathjack is right up in front with Scrap Trolls, and I think it's your turn, and you're moving up all of your swordy dudes.
Yeah, so I got the first turn, and now that I've realised how powerful that advanced followed by a charge that you can do with your jacks is, I've realised that I can do the same with my Stormclads, so that opens up another dimension that I can use possibly in the future. But I managed to get the first turn, so that was quite important for me, and I wasn't 100% sure how, because I played against your list before with a different caster, and you annihilated me in the second turn, I think. So I realised how dangerous it was, and I think because of that I played Stryker a little bit too timidly. I've had to think about it since the game, and I think I should have been playing. I think when you've been playing against Leon, our Kador player, he's learned to have a little formation of guys surrounding his caster to prevent this this assassination
from happening.
Because you can, like Deathjack, for example, generate. He's very focus efficient. He generates his own focus. He hits really hard. He's mat 8. And that means that if he can get in base contact with the caster, then that's pretty much it. Then that's the end.
Yeah, that's true.
So at the moment we've got, I think, 8 heavy jacks on the board and something like 3 or 4.
5 heavies, for including yours.
Yeah, including mine. So there's a lot of metal on the board. I think we've got less than Bent's Retribution list and a number of models for both of our armies, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So then, basically, what I was doing here, as you know, I was trying to. I killed one of the Scrappies, triggered Overrun. Deathjack went up, but in his own activation, he chickened out and went down because I realized I could throw him in the middle of your army.
Yeah.
In the hopes of trying to hit you.
So I was kind of hoping that you would do that, because then Rowdy is right there, and he, with a full load of focus, he can do a lot of damage.
Sure. Yeah. So then I decided also from the last game versus Bent to not just throw my heavies out of the game in the first turn.
Yeah,
so I was playing a little defensive, so I wanted to just use the Scrappies as speed bumps. And then, I was I wasn't surprised. Well, I was kind of surprised that you took the initiative in jamming me up, which I thought was cool because that kind of doesn't let me dictate what happens in the next turn.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
I thought that was
So I had
really
to deal
smart.
with the scrap thralls, and they're so cheap. It's really, really nice. But their big problem is that you can't put them too close together because they can just chain reaction, kill each other when they explode, when they die. And I was able to boost my Sword Knight's armor up high enough that killing them wasn't too much of an issue. Like getting the I knocked the camera then. Killing them wasn't too much of an issue with the backlash with the explosions. And then and then it was very important to get my Stormclads to get the charge. And this is where my mistakes started. I made a lot of mistakes in the first 2 turns of this game. So I'm moving up my Stormblades just then. And unfortunately, I should have done that before charging the Stormclads, and that would have given them both an extra focus each because they get focus when they activate. So I've got no problem getting the Stormclads into action, but the issue is getting them loaded up on the full set of focus before I do that, and didn't really
absolutely.
Really do that.
Yeah, I think that in combination with, I believe it was this turn where you should have popped your feet and broken a few jacks in half.
Yeah, that's right. I missed my feet twice. So ideally, if I play my list ideally, turn 2 is always the feet turn. And I forgot.
Yeah.
And then, so that would have helped the Stormclads get through those 3 or 4 heavy Cryx jacks that they're currently in base, they're trying to kill.
That would have posed a problem for sure, because then I would have left the Harrower, and right behind the Harrower is Mortenebra and the Delirious dude.
Yeah.
And basically I'd have to play very defensive, but luckily they didn't crack, and in this turn I think I'm just trying to just block them up from just that, from my caster, so that jack jumped in onto one of your Stormclads.
And that ended him pretty quickly, I think.
There
you go, that's it.
So, right. Yeah, and then also the other Slayer also went and hugged the other guy. I think this little headbutt dude, the Helldiver, also tried to slam him for whatever it's worth, just to chip in and just try to block you there. Were you worried at this point? What did you expect from both of the Stormclads jumping in at the same time? You expected them to wreck jacks, right?
Yes, so I was hoping. It's always the hope to take out, if I'm facing down heavy jacks or a Colossal, it's always the hope to damage them beyond repair in that second turn charge. And obviously the Scrap Thralls stalled my Sword Knights a little bit, so they couldn't get into the heavies straight away. And unfortunately, Deathjack, he can one turn pretty much wherever he wants. So it was a little bit of a blow to lose that first Stormclad, but obviously, if I'm sending 2 heavies to kill 4 or 5 heavies, then I've got to expect to lose them. So they're kind of disposable in the list, and mainly because Rowdy is still there to help Stryker. And I think what I should have been doing is I should have been a bit further forward at this point with Rowdy and Stryker, because Rowdy's so great in close combat, but I'm so scared that Stryker will get exposed that I didn't use Rowdy at all.
Sure.
Oh, here we go. So I've moved him up, and then I've done a nasty trick. I did a Quake Hammer. I was quite proud of myself for thinking of this, actually. So I did this Quake Hammer attack, which is a 2-inch AoE knockdown effect. It doesn't do any damage. And then Runewood came in straight afterwards and got all my guys to stand back up with one of his battle plans.
It's pretty neat.
Yeah, so, and because Rowdy is Mat 8, and because he's bonded to Stryker, he gets an extra dice on his first melee attack every turn. So it means that knockdown is very powerful, and it means that the Stalker that was standing there was knocked down, which helped the Sword Knights hit him, because he's like defense 16 or something crazy.
16,
so
correct,
it was nice to be able to hit him automatically with the Sword Knight. Unfortunately, they didn't get any bonuses.
Because you forgot to do that thingy.
Yeah, so I've got Ragman in there, and he was supposed to help to take down some more heavies, and I successfully cast his spell, which gives Dark Shroud to everyone, and then I forgot. So when I was rolling the dice, I wasn't taking away those extra dice off of the armor. So I think I just turned my Stormclad slightly to put your was it the burrowing guy into his melee range, so that the sword knights that are next to him could then, on the feet, could then take it down.
Kill him.
And then again, I forgot to feet.
And you forgot to feed.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, so I think this is you done with your turn, because when I start rubbing my hands, I'm assuming that's my turn. It's like, what shall I do now?
Yeah.
I think, this is what I was looking at. I was looking at a possible assassination vector, because I thought that you left your caster a little open, and then
Yes.
I'm giving the Reaper 3 focus here, and seeing if I can basically trample across those 2 guys or 3 guys, and then just get into melee with him and start trying to kill him.
Yeah, so this is where I made a bit of a mistake in that after you trampled across the guys, you didn't kill anyone because of tough, because I was making tough rolls all over the place, which was quite nice this time. But then I took 3 strikes, which I shouldn't have done. You don't get to do that on the guys that get trampled over. You shouldn't
because
get
they're kind of screaming in pain. Like,
so
no!
I think that Stormblade there, he did get a free strike as well, and I think that was okay because he didn't get trampled over.
Sure, he got one.
But oh yeah. So here we are. So your original plan was to trample Stryker as well.
True,
and I was being a bit, let's say, a little bit picky, because obviously it meant the end of the game if you successfully did it. But obviously, actually, it's not such a good idea to trample over the caster that you want to assassinate, because you can't turn around after trampling.
Unless you've got another Jack ready to run at him, which I didn't. So the good thing was that I just trampled across and tried to wade away at him. And I had popped my feet, so there were a few good re-rolls that helped. I think leaving your caster with 4 hit points or 3 or 4 hit points.
Very low. I was worried. Let's put it that way. And I think Death Jack then comes. Yeah, he does is it a trample or is it just a move?
Correct.
I can't remember.
I think he trampled across, or
maybe.
Yeah, he trampled across. Did he move after that? No. Yeah,
no.
Just trampled.
Yeah. Oh, so he shouldn't have been He shouldn't have turned around at the end of the move then, if it was a trample. I don't think it was a trample. I think it was a run.
Then it must not have been, because I don't see anyone there.
Yeah.
Then I didn't have anyone to trample over.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think it must have been a run. And so now I've got 2 jacks that could easily kill Stryker, and they're very close to him. So I'm pretty worried at this point. I think I could, if it was just 1 jack, I could take it down, because I've got Rowdy there. I've got Stryker who can hit hard, but I couldn't do overload anymore because I only had 4 hitboxes left. The Stormblades, they're all there, but they can't charge because they're all facing the wrong way. So all I could do was try and just advance the Stormblades up to your... Is it the Harrower that shoot the guy who's next to Stryker?
No, that's next to Stryker.
The one who just trampled and got...
No, he's the Reaper.
The Reaper. So the Stormblades
Blades
were able to turn around and hurt him pretty bad. Stryker had a couple of hits, I think. And then Deathjack, Rowdy had to basically stand in the way of Deathjack to avoid that charge as well.
Absolutely.
One quite nice thing about Stryker 2 is disruption on his shooting weapon.
That's useful.
Yeah, so I was able to disrupt Deathjack, which doesn't stop him getting his Skulls of Hate focus, but it does stop him getting an additional 3 focus on top of that. So I think that was handy early in the game. And that's something I'm going to come to rely on. Probably, again, if I play Leon with this list, Beast 09 is pretty deadly, but disrupting him will neuter him pretty effectively, because he needs all that focus on the on his feet turn. So there's a lot fewer models on the table now than there were at the beginning of the game. So it's turned into an attrition game combined with attempted assassinations, and I think twice on the last turn, and I think every single turn in the game, maybe except the first turn, you were able to play that trick where you move a guy with ghostly
overrun,
and then charge towards Stryker.
I mean, when you play 5 jacks who can do that, I mean, it's obviously difficult to prevent all the different vectors. Yeah, definitely. But I think you did well in keeping most of them out, and I do think that if you had popped your feet earlier and knocked out at least 2 of those jacks, then we would have a very different sort of situation right now.
It would have made it more difficult, but I think I started to get a bit careless towards the end here. So, as you can see on the board now, Stryker is the furthest model towards the camera.
Yes.
And he's out there without really anything protecting him. And I felt safe.
Sure. From that jack you were
because
safe.
I had all my models between, like all those Stormblades and the Wreck Marker and Rowdy and Piper and the Squire, and they're all there trying to prevent Deathjack from doing his thing.
Yeah, that's what I thought was interesting. You took over, and right now I'm thinking, oh, he's just worried about Deathjack killing his caster.
Yeah.
So what happens if I just disengage one of the Slayers and remove Ghostly from Deathjack and put it on the Slayer? He can get out of those 3 or 4 guys who are in melee with him.
Yep.
And how about I just walk him to the side, given that overrun trigger? So then I think right now I'm giving overrun to the Harrower, and I'm thinking he can just go and attack any one of your little guys in the middle. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm doing here to kill and trigger overrun, so that the Slayer with Ghostly can just waltz to the side, walk out, and hopefully charge your caster.
Yep. There we go.
And that's what I go.
So that's a nice 6-inch movement followed by a charge.
Correct.
And because of there we go. Epic handshake at the end. So because of the extra, he gets to charge for free because of the spell
terminal velocity,
which is incredible. When you've got 5 jacks, it's so powerful. You spend 3 focus, you can charge for free, and what was the other bonus that you get with it?
2-inch on movement if
additional 2 inches.
Yeah, you're charging.
Very dangerous. It's something that it's obviously going to take me a few games to try and avoid it on every single turn. But so that was an assassination kill at the end, and that was a very good game actually. I was quite frustrated about the mistakes that I made. So I felt like your win was well deserved. I would have, if I had managed to assassinate, I would have felt a little bit cheap at the end there, because I think the attrition game you were winning. Again, another mistake I made was I didn't allocate 4 focus to Rowdy when he was about to charge Deathjack. So that would have probably have finished off Deathjack. He was only on a few boxes at that point.
Absolutely.
But you still had your grey, what's it called, a Slayer?
Yep.
You still had another 2. I only killed one. I only killed 2 of your heavies, so you must have had 3 heavies on the board still. You still had one of your Stalkers was up there.
I had a Stalker. I still had a Harrower who was untouched, and I think there's another Slayer lying there. So you killed a Reaper and a Stalker. Yeah.
So even if I'd avoided your assassination on that turn, I think I didn't have enough attrition time left in order to get to Mortenebra, especially with Stryker only on a couple of boxes, like just a lucky shot or a couple of hits in melee even from a weaker model would have finished him off anyway. So I think I think I put all the nails in my own coffin. But it was a cool game, and I'm looking forward to trying to beat you one of these days.
Yeah, I look forward to having some healers in there so you don't.
Yeah, you definitely need to get those necrotechs in there, because that would just standing like those 3 jacks in a line there. They were there for the whole game, and just having some necrotechs behind them, they would have just been healing them up.
Do 2 things, right? They healed him and they shield my caster, so I want both of those things.
Yeah, so I think that would be valuable.
They're medium base.
I'm still not sold on the scrap thralls. They're a nice tar pit, but they are so easy to deal with that I'm not sure.
It just stops the likes of yours and also with the Leon Decatur players, Doom Reavers, for instance, determining where they charge, and I don't like that. I don't like them cramping me up completely. Yeah. So I rather have them deal with these loony bins and then countercharge with my jacks, at least in some formation that I prefer.
So you can kind of make a funnel to dictate where their path that they take.
Absolutely. That's what I'm kind of just putting them there so you don't come at my weak flank, if you will, and then I can create another flank with heavy jacks on the other side.
And there's 3 points for 9. That's crazy. It's so good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So now with the scrap trolls, you get one for free as well. So
Because of the tier list, or
no. So for 1 point, you can either play 3 scrappies,
yeah.
or you can play 1 necrotech with 1 scrappy
Ah,
for
okay.
1 point.
I see.
So basically, next list I can play, instead of 9, I can play 10 scrappies because I'll be playing 4 necrotechs. Okay. So I'll play 2 points of scrap trolls. That'll be 6. And then I'll play 4 points of necrotechs, which will come with 1 scrappy each. So that'll be 10 scrap trolls and 4 necrotechs.
So I guess. Go on. Sorry.
6 points. Yeah, no worries.
So it means that if one of your jacks doesn't get killed in 1 turn, then he's not going to be killable. So if you're going to kill a jack, you have to do it in 1 turn, because
you have to do it in 1 turn because all of the scrap trolls can heal D6.
Yeah.
Necrotechs. Yeah. So if I have 4 necrotechs going on 1 jack and I'm getting 4 dice to heal him, I'm probably on average healing most of or at least 10, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, and then you can just choose which systems come back online.
I'm going to have to wait for the cards to see if I can do that. Otherwise,
yeah, I think it works that way, because Strange Ways, who I used in this game, he has a healing ability. He has to be in base contact, but then it just says heals D6.
Steve, we stopped the audio, right?
No, I haven't stopped it yet.
I haven't either. So
that's
when
fine.
do you plan to do that?
Oh, that's okay. We can keep talking for a little while. So is there anything else in your list that you don't feel like is pulling its weight? So obviously Deathjack is very expensive, but you seem to be getting a lot of value out of him.
I do, and he also has the terror effect on you guys, non-Cryx guys, obviously, because he is a big deal to deal with. Mm-hmm. So I like that. I'd keep that. Apart from that, I was kind of disappointed with playing 2 stalkers, so I'm switching that out with 1 stalker and 1 scavenger, which you shall learn about once I play him. Yeah. I think he's really neat, especially with this assassination mindset.
Yeah. So what I found was I knew the stalkers had an assassination game. So I pinned them down. So that was one of my main things, and because I knew that. So I think if you can achieve something with 1 stalker, then having a 2nd stalker doesn't make a lot of difference, I guess.
No, but I think I wasn't happy with just having that 1 dimension on the stalker play. So if I switch it out with a scavenger, this guy you can't really pin to because he flies across everything. He avoids terrain. He can go and sit in a nest basically in the middle of the map, and fly down whenever he's needed. Mm-hmm. Especially if, in this case, your hero is wounded, he can come in and basically it's called the finisher. So obviously, as his name indicates, it goes in like a vulture, picks on the caster if he's got a line of sight to him.
All right.
So that's something I'd like to try, and then
so it's yet another assassination bait.
Yes.
Cool.
I'm not exactly sure how much more effective it would be, but because it's on the stalker's chassis, I'm going to assume he's going to be as fast. And he's going to be as difficult to hit in terms of high defense.
Yeah.
So that could be fun if I put Spectre Steel on him as well, avoiding free strikes and all of that good stuff. And if you could just fly in and out. And then the next thing I might consider doing is taking out another Slayer and maybe adding Bloat Thralls once Morbilis comes out in March, I think. Mm-hmm. And then see, because I need some form of spray other than the little witches sprays, which are okay, but not against Winter Guard and not against your guys, nor against
because the armor,
the elves,
anything with
really
high
buffed.
armor or high defense kind of avoids it. As far as go on.
Yeah, before I lose faith in Mortenebra's tiered list, I want to try all the different options.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like discussed, maybe Bane Span is the only way to play Cryx.
I mean, I think it seems like a very strong way to play, but I think the reason that not so many people play Mortenebra is because she doesn't have that many models in common with all the other casters. So obviously, Cryx, it's Banes. Everyone wants lots of Banes. And it's generally an infantry faction. And then Mortenebra is the super Jack caster.
Absolutely.
So you're fine for Jacks if you want to expand your collection. No problem with the Jacks anymore, but it does mean just buying a lot of units now if you want to play any other casters. And obviously, Bone Jacks, you'll be needing some of those as well.
Sure. Luckily, I have a few from my Denny list, and
cool.
I can always just add more stalkers and scavengers because they're so much fun. And I've got plenty of them now, and I've ordered a few more. So let's see.
Cool.
I think we're doing well in the way we're progressing. We can brush up on the rules, and the more regularly I guess we go at it, the more awesome it will be.
Exactly. I mean, I think in this game, one of the main things I was very happy with is because we didn't end up having to look at rules a lot. And I don't feel like apart from those 3 strikes, I can't really think of anything major that we got wrong. It was more just forgetting to do stuff rather than doing it wrong. So I was pretty happy with that. As far as my list is concerned, I'm still having problems justifying Ragman there. I just can't get the best out of him. Although Piper, I felt a lot more positive about him because I made so many tough rolls in this game. It was ridiculous.
Wow,
I think it
was impressive.
I made like 60% of the tough rolls. I think maybe 2. Like usually at the end of a game like this, I don't have any sword knights left, and as you can see, I think there's at least 5 of them still on the table. So I was very pleased with that. Still not optimally playing Rowdy. He's got a lot of potential, and I'm not using that. Still not optimally playing Stryker because he's got this overload. He can cut Colossals in half, and so he should have been killing stuff, and he didn't. I don't think he really did much at all. But yeah, it's a learning experience.
He was more or less like your glorified bodyguard, mostly, right? So he wasn't coming out of his bond with his caster.
Yeah, it's exactly right. But they should be in base contact because Stryker gets a little defense bonus for melee attacks when he's in base contact with Rowdy, and he can't be knocked down. And then Rowdy can't be slammed when he's in base contact with Stryker.
Okay.
So it does make sense to have them as a little sort of unit, but what they should have been doing is running around the opposite side of your army to where Deathjack was, and then just heading towards Mortenebra. So I think I still need to be more aggressive with Stryker at the same time as protecting him, and that's the key, I think. So anyway,
that is tricky. Perfect.
So thanks very much, and I look forward to our next game, and I look forward to seeing your next game. I'd like to get some photos and things, and then we can do another report.
Absolutely, will do.
Cool.
You will hear more from the Cryx players soon. Wow.
Awesome. Cheers.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.